your mind. If the luggage is found, the airline will then try to contact the. Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Um, well, welcome to this webinar. Now, before we get started, may I just request you to turn off your microphone for the time being, please? And then in the end, we'll have a Q&A session where, if need be, you're more than welcome to turn it on when asking questions. Or you can also use the chat description box and we will try to pick it up. So let's get started then. Right. So good afternoon and welcome everyone to this webinar on how to drive business improvements with artificial intelligence and machine learning. Now, this webinar is part of a series of webinars in collaboration with the William J. Clinton Leadership Institute at Queen's Business School and the Digital Transformation Flexible Fund. And the key purpose is to ensure that your digital transformation journey is much more streamlined and help you with that, mostly with the micro and small businesses within Northern Ireland. Now, this is an 8-part webinar series, and this is the 5th of that series, and we still have got 3 more webinars to go. And this is the QR code where you'll get more information about it. So please feel free to scan this QR code or just log on to the website for more information. I'll pop this QR code in the end as well, just in case if anyone would like to know more about it. Now, let me introduce ourselves. So my name is Dr. Niladri Palit, and I work as a lecturer in the area of information technology, analytics, and operations at Queen's Business School within Queen's University, Belfast. I'm here joined by 2 of my fantastic guests from Target Integration, Mr. Rohit Thakral and Mr. James McDowell. Gentlemen, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Thank you, Niladri. Rohit is my name, company called Target Integration. We are working in the digital transformation space, helping businesses adopt digital technologies, and we work very closely with Queen's University in the area of AI, ML, machine learning, implementing AI solutions for some of our clients. And we're based on the Dublin Road in Belfast with a small team in Belfast as well as in Dublin as well. James?
Thanks, Roy. Hi, everyone. So my name's James McDowell. I'm the Senior Microsoft Consultant at Target Integration, and my job primarily is to help our clients with the Microsoft 365 ecosystem to digitally transform their business and get the most out of that stack, including Copilot, which we will take a look at a little bit later.
Thank you, gentlemen, for the introduction. So before I get into the core theme of our today's webinar, which is, of course, AI and machine learning, let me quickly go through some of the digital transformation flexible fund related overview and eligibility first, and then I will get there. So it is a demand-led grant scheme, and this is it involves all the local authorities within Northern Ireland, but at the administration, the Newry, Moan, Down, and District Council is there, and it is also supported by the InvestNI. Now, there is a 7.5 million capital grant available at the total funding pot. That's a total money, and that is to be distributed through these various calls. Now, this is a capital grant program, and the key aim is to help ease the financial barriers of the small and micro organizations within Northern Ireland so that they can, with that money, they can do the necessary investment and transform their business digitally. So that's the key aim. Now, there are certain eligibility conditions, which the information you can find out on the DTFF websites as well. You got to be a Northern Ireland-based organization, either a micro or small organization with less than 50 employees. And you need to have VAT registration and are actively trading within last 12 months. Now, there are some exceptions and flexibilities around that. Rather than I go into the details, what I would encourage you is to just visit the DTFF website and get more information around that. And if there are further queries, I'm sure there are links available there, and you can get in touch with the operational team of the DTFF, and you can, I'm sure they will be able to assist you with your queries. Now, it's pretty much open to all the sectors except the primary agriculture, forestry, and the fisheries. Now, there are few key things which you need to remember, that there are 6 advanced digital technologies based on which this funding program is designed. So you need to demonstrate that you are going to purchase one or more than one of those technologies from that 6 technologies. And you need to have a digital transformation plan, because you need to fill out an application form, and that application form will be will decide whether you'll get it or not. So that's the kind of like eligibility side. It's a 5 to 6 stage process. Now, at the moment we are, if I'm not wrong, at the end of the call 3 is closed. Call 4 is going to open sometimes in February, March 25. Now, you can get more information about DTFF from the website or scanning this QR code. Now, before I jump onto the agenda of the webinar, any question, anyone at this stage? It seems no, so which means I am good to proceed. And now, again, if I may request, if your microphone is turned on, if you don't mind, please turn it off so that we can conduct the webinar very smoothly.
Yeah, I think we have one hand up. I don't know if that's in error, but Paul Waters has his hand up.
Okay. Paul, would you like to shout out or now or?
That was a mistake, gentlemen. Sorry.
All right, no worries. All right. So let's move on to the agenda. So I will start with what is artificial intelligence, and then I will discuss some of the key facts about artificial intelligence, and I will also show some of the examples, and then I will hand over to my guests for some interacting live demo and some case examples around how AI can be used. And then after that, I will come back again to talk about some of the further support mechanisms. And in the end, I will open the floor for Q&A. So that's the plan. Now, artificial intelligence. We all hear the term. Now, before I do any further talking, I would like to know from you that I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, have been hearing this terminology for a number of years, that artificial intelligence, AI, it has in a way become a buzzword. Now, I would like to know from you, what are the areas do you think as part of your daily life you have used artificial intelligence, or you think that you might have used? So feel free to fill out the chat description box. any application, any areas from your daily spectrum of your life where you might have used, artificial intelligence. We have got a hands up. Would you like to shout out?
Yeah, no, but just to say, first of all, that I'm not sure the chat box is actually working there. I'm not sure if anybody else can access it.
All right.
It's up now, is it? Maybe
It
it's just
is,
me.
yeah. Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
okay. I'll
No
have another
worries.
go. So I
All
suppose
right.
shopping would be one.
Okay. Right. So Perplexity. Yeah, that is true. Perplexity is one of those GPTs. Yes. Any other applications? Google Gemini. Okay, that's AI too. More simple day-to-day life. Yeah, that's for your work. Any other, like, put yourself into the shoes of a customer or a user of a service or a product. Any application? Chat box? Yeah, that's true. Searching Google and the replies. Google do have, yeah. Netflix, yes, they do. Any other applications? Any processes you can imagine? Yeah, Netflix does use that, but a little more specific examples. Anyone? Okay. How about if I say, where every time you log on to Netflix and you have some suggestions, and those suggestions, many of those suggestions might be of interest to your, your choice of the streaming you would like to see on Netflix. And that also happens with YouTube as well. So what happens, these streaming services, they monitor your browsing pattern and they try to learn the AI behind those technologies. They try to learn your browsing pattern and recommend you what you would like to browse in the future, that type of thing. Chatbot, I can see some of you have mentioned chatbots or bots. Yeah, that's true. Banks and various service providers are using those things. There are, the applications are endless, to be very honest with you. Like, even think about voice recognition. I have a bank account with one of the high street banks. Let's say the bank name is ABC, and every time I call their call center, I need to authenticate myself, and my authentication is done through my voice. So I have to repeat the phrase, at Bank ABC, my voice is my password. And they will match my voice accept with what they have stored. And if the match is correct, they will let me authenticate. If not, they won't. So that's where the voice authentication with AI is happening. Opening a mobile phone, using your facial recognition. There are plenty of examples which often we don't realize our daily life is flooded with application of AI, and that number of application is growing every passing day. Now, moving on, what is AI? Now, because my day-to-day 9 to 5, sometimes, most often more than 5 and more than before 9 as well, but let's say for talk's sake, 9 to 5 job is lecturing and doing research. So I need to look at academic journals as well, but I'm not going to bring in those findings today, but I certainly would look into some of what the industry are talking about AI and how they are defining AI. Now, I won't say it's a multifaceted definition, but certainly there is no unique one definition that is available throughout all the industry, all the journal articles I'm referring to. There are various, dimensions, various words, various definitions. But if I summarize, few things are common. First is probably that those few things emerge from the name itself, artificially intelligent. So there has to have some sort of computer-based machine or technology, which is artificial, which is obviously not natural, but it has the intelligence like a human one. So a computer and machines which has the capacity to learn like a human being, convert that learning into knowledge, and make future decision. And the future decision making could be endless. Like, we have explored few, like voice recognition, facial recognition, chatbot, or suggestions over Netflix, Amazon, you name it. So that's what artificial intelligence is about. Now, it's not new. If I look into the history of AI, it's not new. Perhaps 1939, when Judy Garland's movie The Wizard of the Oz was the first time where uh, an artificial object was showcased to mimic human voice, and that was called the Tin Man. But scientifically, Alan Turing was the first person who should be credited who coined the term or coined this concept of artificial intelligence. And that was so what Alan Turing questioned, that if human can utilize information to learn and logically deduct reasoning and get to a solution, why can't the machine do the same? And pursuit of finding an answer to that question led Alan Turing to that famous imitation game. Now, there is a nice blog published by the Harvard Business School. Now, if you have spare time later on, do feel free to have a look at that blog. It's an interesting one. Now, summarizing what AI can do in the businesses, so we have several examples like chatbots, face voice recognition, autonomous driving. I mean, it is getting quite popular as well. Targeted advertising or targeted streaming suggestions like Netflix, YouTube, predictive analytics, prediction about the demand, prediction about the future, pattern recognition, endless number of applications. Now, before I jump onto some of the successful case examples, let me clarify or rather debunk some of the often misconstrued notion which have become a kind of like a popular buzzword of our daily life, that AI, ML, that means artificial intelligence, machine learning, are they the same thing? Perhaps not. They're not. I mean, machine learning is certainly part of AI, but AI is not just all about machine learning. It is a broad umbrella technology and broad umbrella idea which encompasses various things: machine learning, deep learning, neural network, computer vision, natural language processing, and there are plenty of other, these are certain algorithm techniques which help AI to function like an artificially intelligent system. So that's the kind of like a technical difference. Now, moving on, I will now focus on how artificial intelligence can help the businesses, and I will take the help of few of the successful case examples. First one is Prime Therapeutics. It's not a pharmaceutical company, rather it's a pharmaceutical solution organization based in the United States. Now, as we know that the healthcare system in the United States is very complex, and the complexity mostly arising from involvement of multiple stakeholders, and that often becomes very challenging to get various sources of data, integrate the data, and make effective decision using the data. And these Prime Therapeutics, what they do, they often they sit in the middle, they try to offer some sort of health plan for the patients, and from those health plan, the patients can get some discounts on the medicine, and these Prime Therapeutics has got mechanisms to negotiate with the pharmaceutical companies and the drugstores, etc., to make that happen. And now it is data driven. I mean, it is not something that data can be taken out of it. It has to be data driven to make sure that there's no duplication, there's no waste, there's no wastage of money, wastage of medicine. But that's where they struggled. Without an integrated system, they struggled even to match the prescription against why it was prescribed. That simple thing they struggle to match without the integrated data system. And that became a subject of abuse as well and fraud as well. And in one case, they found someone ordered 48 narcotic drug from 10 different, by duplicating the same prescription from 10 different providers from 10 different drugstore. So it's a potential store, area of fraud and misuse of the healthcare system. Now, these how this AI and machine learning help them to integrate the disparate data sources into one platform and take it from there and identify all those things. And the results were very quick, actually. Within 18 months, they found $300 million worth of money being recovered. Now, for more information, you can look into this nice blog on LinkedIn. Now, the next thing is digital barista. I mean, I'm sure, if not all, most of us are coffee lovers, and we need our cuppa in the morning, maybe sometimes in the middle of the day, and perhaps more than 2 times. I mean, if I'm not feeling well, then I need more than 2 times for sure. Now, coffee. For coffee lovers, often it's beyond our home. We often love to go and visit coffee shops. But post COVID-19, hospitality industry have been struggling, and it has been reported in many places across the world that the hospitality industries like coffee shops or small scale takeaways or restaurants are struggling to find out people who work for them. Even I heard
that's right. Yeah.
Sorry, can I just request to turn off the mic, please? So, I mean, even in Belfast, I heard that post-COVID, some of the lunch shops and takeaways who used to operate during the lunchtime no longer operates because of the staff shortages. Now, long story short, what this Bela Digital Barista did, so this company called Jade Software, and I think if there's a gentleman from that company named Eduardo, and he wanted to present his wife some nice Christmas present around 2018-19 time. And so he came up with the idea, can he create a digital coffee machine where you can actually order from a phone and strike a conversation and the digital machine will take your order, that sort of thing. So he partnered with a digital human creating companies called Unique and Ambit, who were providing natural language processors, and they got help from a local coffee shop called Noel Leeming in New Zealand all together, and this Noel Leeming lent them a coffee machine, and with that, within 2 to 3 weeks time, they came up with this digital barista. So what this digital barista does is, her name is, they have named it Bella. So what it does, you can phone, you can order, and if you, with simple technologies, you can even display, and the digital human will be displayed on screen. You can order, and you can strike conversation about how coffee is made and the journey of the coffee, differences between different types of coffee, weather, etc., etc. Now, if the machine can't do certain thing, for example, the owner tried to test if the machine can order a muffin. So he said, Bella, could you order me a muffin? And Bella said, oh, that would be a good idea to have a muffin with a cup of coffee, but unfortunately, I have limitations, and at the moment I can't process your request. So, and that time, it has the capacity. Bella can transfer your call to a call center. Now, it's a very advanced level of technology application. Now, the best side is following that now digital barista is getting popular with many of the popular coffee chains as well. For example, Costa Coffee, they have, if I'm not wrong, Costa Coffee has rolled out some of the digital baristas in somewhat different form though in United States. And again, the key reason is they run into staff shortages post COVID, and that helped them with their, you know, the resource management side. This type of digitalization and help their businesses get transformed. My last example is gelato. Now, this company Terra, based in Italy, they are using ChatGPT to come up with some of the ideas about new ice cream and gelatos. And one of the suggestions from ChatGPT is white chocolate, berry sauce, balsamic vinegar, and caramelized black pepper. The other suggestions were vegan salted and sandblasted hazelnut with oat milk and peaches sorted in prosecco. Now, at first, some of the customers had some inhibition and reservation. Are they going to test? They complained, but soon they get along and it became success. So ChatGPT is helping them with new ideas. And those, I mean, the owner, if I'm not wrong, the owner once said that some of those ideas were actually balancing those ancient Italian taste with those, special ancient Italian taste, those local taste with into the modern era. Now, it doesn't come free of operational challenges because, as you can imagine, that with such level of customization, you need very customized level. You need a good level of customized inventory, and your inventory management has to be very spot on, because if it is not, I mean, a small ice cream shop owner like this shop like Terra, they don't have enough space to accommodate, plenty of items if their inventory count is wrong. And more importantly, they're dealing with, the items which are very perishable. So there is a chance that if the inventory count is wrong, items can go waste. So they can't afford that either. That's where AI is helping them with prediction. What is the right quantity you should store? So they're, in a way, it is revolutionizing their business operation. Again, more information you can find out on the links below. Now, I'm going to summarize how they are I mean, what is the impact then? So obviously, any automation comes with the time saving. And not only that, from these examples, I'm sure you get to see that there is a real-time decision making, and that is possible with the help of data and through this technology. They have innovated, like example of this gelato, they have innovated, and that has helped them to transcend the customer experience to the next level. And effective order fulfillment. And not only that, when the co-owners of the gelato was questioned, is your job at threat? He said, not really. ChatGPT can prescribe how much to use and what to use But when it comes to balancing, that is quality control, reliability, ensuring those operational requirements, he needs to be there. So AI is actually helping them how machine can work alongside, or the technology can work alongside the human being. So on that note, I would now like to hand over to my fantastic guests, Rohit and James. Over to you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Nilatri. I was wondering, what flavor of the ice cream would AI recommend to me when you were talking about it? Now, of course, it's the logic can be applied to a number of different aspects as well. Creation of a cocktail, for that sake.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see who comes up with that idea. Let me know once you can see my screen, and we'll kick off from there.
Yeah, we can
so
now.
far, any questions? Brilliant, thank you. I think our chats are busy as well. Sean, thank you for answering some of the questions. And yes, if you have any questions, put them into the chat window. If you have anything that you want us to address immediately, yes, put that in as well. We are monitoring it regularly. Our idea today is to give you some examples of the work that's happening in SME world, how SMEs are using, and particularly SMEs on the kind of not as much as small to medium, but small to micro businesses are utilizing AI and chat machine learning as well in their business. I wouldn't be here if Target Integration wasn't there. So just to kind of give you a quick idea about them, we are digital adoption specialists. We lead with the vision that every business should be able to get the best out of their data. They should be able to get the best business insights that allows you to make decision for future. And of course, data is what is driving all of this AI and machine learning anyways. From our locations perspective, we've got UK and Ireland, we've got Belfast, Dublin, Cork, and then we have Birmingham and Oxford as well. What do? We bring in products and services to deliver solutions to our customers. We are ISO certified. We have around 4,000 odd customers around the globe, 6,000 odd projects, 135 in the team, with 11 offices located in 4 countries. These are some of the partners we work with on a regular basis. And of course, ultimately, if none of these kind of off-the-shelf packages work, we jump into custom software development space as well. So we deliver a lot of custom software solutions. It's not a sales pitch, so I'll skip kind of some of the stuff. But yes, from our perspective, we can help you deliver end-to-end solutions for your digital transformation needs. The projects that we are doing in AI, and of course, these are supposed to give you some inspiration towards your own DTFF projects as well. If you look at how, other businesses are utilizing artificial intelligence, machine learning, how they're collecting data. One of the big challenge becomes, how do I collect all that data? Well, when you think about it in a manufacturing environment, your CNC machines, your lathe machines are all generating data. At the moment, you let that data go to waste because it's not collected anywhere. And you go, do I actually need to? Data is power in today's day and age. That's why a lot of social media platforms are free, because they have your data. They have data available to them. You need to collect that data about your own business. And how do you collect it? There are multiple ways of doing it. Of course, if you were looking for internal data, you're looking at data coming from your manufacturing units, your manufacturing machines. But then at the same time, sometimes you have to be creative to go, how do I collect that data from people who are manufacturing this product? And that's where, yes, a lot of other ideas come in, like we've used Ring based barcode scanners for some of our customers. So the barcode scanner is not a separate device. It's actually attached into your finger, and you immediately can scan the barcode when you're passing the product. Wouldn't that be great? But different use cases have different solutions. Our projects in AI at the moment revolve. One of the big ones that we're working on is to power a consumer help desk. In scenarios like that one, we are actually collecting all the data in the knowledge base of that manufacturer. So they manufacture devices, and those devices, those smart home devices, effectively have a lot of user manuals. So, how do you turn on heating and how do you turn off electricity or power to your appliance, and how do you turn on or off a particular light? How do you set it up on your mobile phone? All of these. And if you remember, before AI became popular, we used to create these chatbots on the basis of if this, then that, if this, then that. And generally, these chatbots were telling people, go and look at this user manual. Go and look at this user web page. We have taken all those web pages, all those user manuals, given it to ChatGPT to say, now when the question comes in from the user, you effectively take that question and answer it as if a human is answering. So not necessarily just redirecting them to a web page, but even saying, how about clicking this, clicking that, do this, do that, install this app. And users will think that, yes, they are actually getting help from a human connection. And then at the end, of course, if that doesn't resolve the problem, you move into creating a ticket with the help desk. So that's one AI project that we are working with. Another one that we are working with is Microsoft Copilot as a tool for the internal organization's data. In this case, the client came to us and said, look, we have a scenario where we've done a lot of projects, and all of these projects are working with a different sort of technology and different, tool set and all. What we want to do is, first part is, of course, we are delivering a lot of training around Microsoft Copilot. That's where James's experience comes in picture, and he'll demo some of these to you later on. But then this chatbot that we are creating is for the internal sales team support. All the project data is now given to Copilot. A chatbot will be created on Copilot, which will then interrogate the data and go, okay, we'll answer some of the questions like, have you ever done a project which involved, let's say, Python? Have you ever done a project which involved working with a CNC machine? So things like those, and it's internal data for internal users. And look at a big organization where a number of different people are working, and they're working with different projects. So sometimes, the team who's working in, let's say in US doesn't know what's happening in the UK. In scenarios like those, a tool like this can become very powerful to bring the whole organization together. Generally, you would do this by creating an intranet, and you will probably put SharePoint intranet in action, but it'll still be very manual. The chatbot will automate that significantly. And I think as human beings, we love talking to people. We love talking to sometimes devices as well. I'm one of the ones who would generally go, good morning, Google, in my house. And yes, Google talks to me and gives me all the information. That's where we are bringing Copilot forward into the business data. All the other kind of environments that we have seen where AI and ML is being used by SMEs is, everybody has mentioned at the beginning, everybody put in the chat window what they are using AI for. And yes, you're right, sales and marketing content creation, whether you're using ChatGPT, whether you're using Copilot, Perplexity, anything like that, creating summaries. We're using Copilot in Teams as well now to create summaries of our video conversations. So it is transcribing and it is giving us ideas and presentations. Like it happens with me a number of times where I go, oh, where did they mention their warehouses? And you ask ChatGPT while in the call and it'll give you the answer. It just helps with note taking as well, and without interrupting any of the flow of the call. Of course, chatbots, language translation. Language translations has gone a level beyond at this stage where it's not only just a literal translation, which looks like a machine translation, but it's doing even more in terms of the dialects and even more in terms of bringing in that proverbial angle to the language as well. Document digitalization, automated data entry, they were there from OCR days, but now it's becoming even more smarter where, yes, it knows what data, but then on a pattern, it can actually bring in the data and know from the external sources as well that this data actually should go into this particular field. Quality control in manufacturing units, ID verification, Iladri spoke about that earlier as well. Retail analytics, preference, what's the traffic about, what are they looking for? You must have seen some of the cameras being installed on Lidl and Aldi's and Tesco's where they are tracking who's coming in, who's buying. Pattern recognition, fraud detection, automated payment reconciliation, wrong data identification, genomics as well. We work in Oxford. That's where James is based as well. And yes, genomics are using AI significantly at this stage where they are able to predict and they're able to, create different samples and come up with what if analysis pretty quickly without writing a lot of code as they used to before. In the prediction side of things, you have demand forecasting. So if you're into manufacturing, of course, forecasting becomes very important. Your forward planning becomes very important. Your lead scoring, very basic. But when you think about it, if you have a lead who comes into your CRM, whether they are going to buy from you or not, can actually be predicted using AI. The supply chain optimization, how much to buy, how much to keep at any point of time. Christmas is coming. Will I have enough stock to serve them? Do I have, the correct level of POs created at this stage? Predictive maintenance, again, back to manufacturing. But you will see, you can predict maintenance on the basis of vibrations in your machine and data like that. So we can talk about it a lot. There are other suitable technologies as well, but let's show you something. Let's present something to you, how Copilot is helping us, helping some of our customers get the most out of power that Copilot brings in. It's all external data rather than internal data, which means that it's creating presentations, it's creating content. But James, over to you.
Cool. So thank you, Rohit. You'll have to let me know when you can see my screen.
Yeah, we have it now.
Yeah, you can see that. Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, so yeah, as Rohit was saying, Microsoft Copilot has been rolled out last year, and it's really been embedded across the Microsoft ecosystem. So this is the main Copilot screen that you'll get once you've got Copilot 365, and you can see at the top there's a toggle switch there between work and web. And this is quite an important distinction. So web, if you're in web mode, this is essentially ChatGPT 4. So I know at the beginning, a lot of you mentioned you were using ChatGPT or similar products like that. And this is exactly the same. So you can use it for research, ask it questions and generic stuff, and it will go out on the web and try and get the results. But if you switch it to work mode, this actually then is looking internally at your data across the Microsoft 365 ecosystem, but also you can connect it to other data sources that you may be using internally, to other systems that you've managed to integrate and connect with 365. It also has got a visual creator as well. So for any of you that are in the sort of graphics or visual arts industries, you can actually use this now to create visuals for yourself, backgrounds and logos and things like that. And I've used it myself. It's very, very good. The difference with searching in the work version of Copilot as opposed to the web version is if you hit a backslash, you can actually, as you see, get a pop-up box and you can look at people within your organization. You can look at any files or documents that you've created or used. You can even look at meetings. So if you've been added to a Teams meeting, it can actually analyze that even after the fact. And then one thing to note, if you actually record your Teams meetings, as we're recording this one, afterwards, Copilot can give you a full recap of the entire meeting, not just a transcript, but it can also produce a list of action items or follow-on items that you or your customers have agreed to in that meeting. So it kind of gives you a project plan for next steps. And it can also check your emails. Within Outlook, it can actually analyze an entire email thread and give you the sort of standout points, even if this thread is, I'm sure many of us have seen this when email threads become ridiculously long, but it will actually pick out the pertinent information from that. It can also schedule meetings based on that email chat as well. So you can ask it to schedule a call based on an email thread. It will bring all the people involved in that conversation into the meeting, create an agenda, create some items to discuss. So this is really helping you to kind of stay on top of things and actually, as Rohit alluded to earlier, sometimes in a Teams meeting, particularly if it's quite fast paced or busy, you may slightly miss something or not hear something. Copilot can instantly give you the answer and tell you what it was, and it can even give you the answer after the fact as well. So it's a really powerful combination of ChatGPT essentially for the web, but also to be able to interrogate internally. And I'll show you some quick user cases in some of the applications. So Microsoft Word is a product I'm sure we're all familiar with. There's two integrations with Copilot in this. As you can see, we've got Copilot here on the menu bar. And when that opens up, that basically becomes like a ChatGPT for this document. So once you've created some content, you can ask it questions on that, just as though you were searching for anything in ChatGPT. But one of the real powerful things of Copilot is content creation, which is slightly different to research. So as you can see embedded within the document, there's a draft with Copilot icon. So if we select that up, you get a dialog box there, and you can literally get it to create content for you. So if I just do an example of create a business plan for an AI, try and spell correctly, AI chatbot, and then we'll generate that. So now this has given you a full, within a very short amount of time, a draft business plan now if you were creating your own AI chatbot internally or you were creating that for your customers. And as with all AI, they always give that caveat that things may not be 100% correct and it's always worth checking. But as you can see, that took virtually no time at all, and you've got the basis of a document there. So that saves people a huge amount of time with content creation. And now that content's created, you can use the GPT screen to actually analyze that document, ask questions about it, and actually analyze what that's brought up. You've got the option to keep it then or remove it, or you can ask it to make further adjustments to that document. As Rohit was saying about language things, so you may work across, you may have customers or staff in different geographies, different languages. So we can actually put translate into French. And you can see within seconds that's done that. Now, the really good thing about this, and I have checked it, we do have colleagues who speak more than one language, which puts me to shame. But what a lot of people say is this accurate? And what Copilot does very cleverly is it's not a word for word translation. It actually retains the context. So if it has to tweak it around to fit the language you've asked it to translate it to, it does that. And as I said, we've got bilingual people internally to us, so we've actually tested this, and they've said, yeah, the accuracy is really, really good. It does keep the context and that, so that's quite a useful feature. Like I said, if you've got customers or partners or in other countries that you operate with. So that's some of the examples in Microsoft Word. PowerPoint is a similar thing. You've got the ChatGPT button at the top where you can actually ask it to analyze a presentation and pull out the key issues from that. But you've also got the embedded here, and we can ask, can create a presentation, so you can actually create it from a file, or you can create it from some other documents and that. So if I try and get this out of the way, minimize that. So I've done a training plan there. So create a presentation from this training plan that I've created in a Microsoft Word document, and it'll analyze that document that I've created in Microsoft Word. Then slight pause. So in the ChatGPT screen, it's actually giving you an example of what it's doing, and then it builds it for you. And as you can see, for those of you that use PowerPoint reasonable amount, it's actually added in animation as well. So it's given you a full PowerPoint presentation with animation included. Now, as I said, the same as Word, it's not always 100%. It might not be the complete finished article you want, but for those of you that have had to create presentations before, create large documents, I'm sure you can see the time benefits in this, that it gives you a real head start on that. These Office apps also and Copilot work with any branded templates or documents that you have. So if you do have your own corporate branding, there is a user guide on how to connect that to Copilot. So Copilot, for example, in PowerPoint will create you a full presentation using your own company slides as well. So you always maintain that corporate identity across any sort of documentation or presentations that you're creating. Similarly, in Excel, I've created a very basic spreadsheet here, but this kind of comes into its own when you've got really, really big spreadsheets that takes a while to sort of trawl through. But just to give you a very quick example, so we've got a column there with status. So there's an applier color and formatting. So highlight all cells with in progress in orange. And if I apply that, as you can see, that's done it now. Obviously, this is a very small sample spreadsheet, but as you can imagine, if you've got huge spreadsheets, as some of us do, being able to target sort of key columns or cells within that, and also analyze it, it can also make suggestions on formulas that you might want to use, and you can ask it for sort of top 10 if you've got sort of columns with results in it and stuff. So there's lots of things that you can do to sort of analyze this data. If you're not sure what to ask it, because as we've said, these things generally are only as good as what you're actually putting in, what you're actually asking it to do. It does give you advice on prompts, and it breaks that down by category as well. So the more you get to learn this and the more you get to construct really, really good prompts, the better the results will come out of it. And Copilot does learn as well as you're going along. So it does remember everything that you're asking it to do or instructing it to do. So the product becomes even more better over time. Now, as we've said, that's kind of the Office apps kind of experience, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. As I said, it's really powerful in Microsoft Teams to be able to summarize meetings or to give you action plans, and also from emails as well. And when you kind of take the next step, it is embedded within the Power Platform in Microsoft. So, for example, in Power Automate, which we use to create automation, as you can see on the homepage, it's got Create Your Automation with Copilot. So if this is an application that you've not got much experience with, or you're not kind of sure where to start and you want to try and start automating some of your business processes, you can actually explain in simple words what you're trying to do or what you're trying to achieve. And Copilot will actually now build these automations for you and give you a real good head start on that. And also within other versions of Copilot, within Copilot Studio, you can actually start building your own GPTs yourself, your own chatbots, and you can connect them to lots of different data sources, not just within Microsoft, but also, as I said at the beginning, third-party systems that you may be using and integrating. So yeah, those are some of the examples you can use. I'll hand that back to Rohit.
Yeah, and you would say, look, quite a lot of these things are available in ChatGPT and likes of those, but the embedded part of Copilot is what I loved. It was the other day I was asked to create a presentation, 3 sets of presentations. And of course, that would have taken me a bit of time to go ChatGPT, get the content in, put that content, find the relevant image, or even if take the image from ChatGPT or Dolly or anybody like that. But yeah, instead, doing this in Copilot or using Copilot in Microsoft just made life so easy. So I hope that's useful, and I hope that's useful for everybody who's seen it. If you need any help, yeah, do reach out to us. We'll be happy to give you more demos or give you training for your team as well, that they can learn from it. Just quickly wrapping it off and conscious of time at this stage. Some of the kind of, ERP systems that we do big time with AI ML is smart lead scoring. We spoke about it earlier. If you want to increase your sales, smart lead scoring with AI can be very helpful. It can enrich the lead as well, so it can pull the data from external sources. OCR, document digitalization, ChatGPT integration to boost marketing and sales documentation. Smart chatbot, improve customer service. Spoke about this earlier. AI-powered web solutions to build, migrate, and speed up the websites, and of course, predictive analytics, some of the other possibilities. Important is to make sure the journey looks something like this. Do you have your processes digitalized? Do you have them streamlined with a CRM or an ERP system? And then only you can automate them and report and forecast. And this is the part where AI and ML becomes very powerful for your data. Of course, public data is available. It allows you to create content. But if you want to make sense out of your own processes and data, you need to digitalize them and then process them over. Niraju, over to you. And if there are any questions, happy to answer them.
Thank you, Rohit. So I'll now start sharing my screen. Right. So thank you, Rohit and James, for the very insightful ideas around AI and how best AI can be used. So to summarize for the benefit of our audience, if I summarize that yes, AI is there, and the number of opportunities, a number of areas where AI can be used to streamline businesses probably is endless, and that number is growing with every passing day with the unprecedented speed at which AI is evolving. Now, still, I would say that two most important things one needs to be aware of. First, are we aware of our input? So if the output we are trying to generate from AI is as good as the input, if the input itself is wrong, then probably there is no point, blaming AI. I mean, very simple example related to GPTs. I mean, this morning I had meetings with my collaborators for a research project on carbon emission reduction and sustainability improvement using Industry 4.0. So we were just trying to kind of draw a plan, action plan, and we were trying to test with GPT, let the GPT suggest us what are the action plans. And by mistake, I did not input carbon neutrality in the prompt. And when we got 1,000-word prompt, there is nowhere carbon neutrality to be found. And then we realize, okay, our input itself was wrong. So the same thing, if you need to be aware of what you are trying to input, if your input is wrong, then there is a greater chance 100% chance your output will be wrong. Yes, in the future, we may have technology which can advise us where our input was wrong, but still, 100% foolproof accuracy with wrong input is unlikely as of now. The next most important thing is we need to know what problem we are trying to solve. Rohit mentioned ERP in one of the slides in his presentation. And when ERP was one of the cutting edge technology, everyone thought, okay, let's hand over everything to ERP. All our life will be peaceful and we will have solution to everything. That's a wrong idea. ERP can solve, again, it comes back to point one, that your input has to be accurate. You need to know your input. You need to know what problem you are trying to solve. Maybe the problem is out with the remit of the technology. Like in the case of ordering a muffin to digital barista, which is not programmed to dispense any muffin. So you need to know your business problem. So on that note, I would now move on to the further help and support. So earlier I mentioned that as part of the digital transformation flexible fund scheme, there is an application process involved, and in that application process, you need to submit your transformation plan. And from our experience, we often found in the past that that's where most of the applicants struggle with. Now, you call it fortunate or unfortunate, because us from the Queen's University Belfast, we are the delivery partner of this project. To avoid conflict of interest, we can't directly involve with you by helping you that, okay, this is how the application is right. At the end of the day, this is your application. You need to take the ownership of it. However, we do understand that's not something you do day in, day out. So there are indirect mechanisms where you can train yourself more of a longer term approach. And that training can help you in such a way that you yourself are confident enough to write the application. So here are some of the further support mechanisms. Like at Queen's University, we have William J. Clinton Leadership, we have AMEC, and you can also approach the further education colleges in Northern Ireland. University of Ulster has the Smart Manufacturing Data Hub. Some of the local authorities like councils have got the Go Succeed program, or you can approach Innovate NI, or even any other similar mechanism you identify. I mean, for more details, please log on to this website. Now, what kind of training programs we offer? We have some short open programs like strategic change leadership for digital transformation and emerging technologies, data analytics. We also do have executive programs, and based on the client need, we also at William J. Clinton Leadership Institute, we also design custom courses. Now, my colleague Sean has already posted the link on the chat box. All the recorded webinars will be available on our YouTube channel. Please feel free to log on to those and have a view if you have missed anything. And as I said earlier, this is a part of a webinar series, and there are still 3 more webinars to go. Feel free to scan this QR code and register yourself, and we will look forward to see you on those as well. Now, on that note, I would like to thank you for your attendance and your engagement, and I would also like to thank my guests for sharing insightful ideas. So on that note, I would now officially open the Q&A. So we have already a few question and answers, but if any further question and answers, please feel free to fill out the chat box or shout out or raise your hand, whatever it is. So I think there are a few questions already for you, James, that can you use Excel to create trends? Now, I have answered that it depends, because some models can be fit into Excel, and that can offer trends, and you can create some visuals as well. Now, please feel free to share your thought on that.
Well, so one thing I'd say about Copilot in Excel noticed is when it first got released, there didn't seem to be as much functionality in the Excel bit as there was in some of the other applications. Now they've just released what they've called Wave 2, which has actually increased the functionality across Copilot, across all the applications it's available in. But I know Excel is something they are looking at because obviously, as we know, Excel is a very powerful tool, so they're trying to get that Copilot to catch up, basically. So I think there was a specific question about would you have to run the Copilot again if the things changed. At the moment, you do for a lot of things. But I know from looking at the roadmap and what they've got planned coming down the line, they are throwing a lot of resources at Excel. So I'm hoping over time that actually the Copilot and Excel integration will become a lot smarter, particularly sort of for more complex modeling and some of the more advanced functionality that Excel offers. So that's the honest answer to that one.
Okay, thank you, James. So you've got one more question again. Where do you get access to Copilot? Is this just a matter of typing ChatGPT? Is there a subscription fee to Copilot?
Yeah, so the two things. There's Copilot is included in Microsoft packages in some of the applications. So you will get the ChatGPT bit. It pops up in Windows 11 and the Bing search engine as well, and you can access it through the Microsoft 365 homepage. So you can use the ChatGPT stuff. It's included in Power Automate if you've got that, so that's included as well, and Power BI, some of the other Power Platform things. But Copilot, what they call Copilot 365, which is the integration into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams, Outlook, that is an additional license cost. So yeah, I mean, it depends. If the GPT is as far as you want to go and that's all you need, then you're lucky. But if you want the sort of content creation and the integration in Teams and Outlook and being able to summarize and analyze data, then yes, that is an additional license cost.
Thank you. Any other questions for us? No? Okay. So it seems we don't have any further questions. So I have a very quick question to my guests. So about the AI, so what, both of your opinion about the unprecedented speed with which it is evolving with every passing day, where do you see yourself as a kind of like a consultant, the challenges will be, and how do you overcome those, and what the companies can, who you actually offer consultancy, what can they do to stay abreast of these unprecedented speed, like, because it seems at the moment it is very rapid.
True. And if I may jump in, my view will be that, look, to keep abreast, yes, keep attending these webinars. I think on a regular basis, you go from one webinar to the other, and you realize that was a trick question, Gatri, was it? But yes, I'm also conscious of time. It's a very wide, big topic as well.
Yeah.
To keep up to date, education. Every day, tomorrow morning, there'll be a new GPT version release, and then there'll be another version, and then there'll be another check or another kind of, change to it. So keep up to date. But the biggest challenge is going to be not being up to date, but then at the same time, it's security. It does give, access to a lot of data privacy issues as well, and you have to be very careful of AI and how to use it properly for good reasons and good projects. James?
So I'd say two things. One, don't see it as a threat, see it as an opportunity, because I think businesses can grow there's a lot of misinformation out there and a lot of anxiety around this. But actually, if you speak to people that know how to use this properly, then it should be a tool in your armory, not something that's going against you. The other thing I found for me personally as a consultant is people are using AI now to say, for example, to write me a code to do this, where, you know, back in the day they would have gone to, you know, an expert for it. But even though they can get it to do that for them, they still want that arm around the shoulder when it comes to implementation and delivery. They still need that reassurance. So yeah, I kind of see the dynamic slightly changing between consultants and clients, but not as a threat to either. I think it's just an understanding. It'll be interesting to see how this evolves over time. As you said, it's moving at pace.
Yeah. And thank you very much, gentlemen. No, that's I think that's my opinion as well, that yes, I mean, we can't control the speed of technological advancement because that is bound to advance. We need to evolve, but at the same time, we also need to be self-aware about what we are asking the technology to do for us. So if that self-awareness is not there, that is very critical, that we need to identify the problem whose solution we are aiming to find out. So yeah, no, thank you very much. So, and there is one more comment. So thank you for acknowledging that, and I hope there will be more in-depth knowledge sessions in the future. Well, we still have got 3 more webinars as part of the series, so please do feel free to register yourself. And regarding the future ones, I'm not sure at this moment, but we can hope for that. Yes, there might be some depending on the need and depending on how we are advised. So let's hope so. Okay. Any final question? I'm conscious of the time. So any final question before I draw a curtain to today's webinar? And if anyone is typing their question, it might be easier if you just shout out by turning on your microphone, because that way I will be aware that you have a question. No? Okay, so in that case, once again, I would like to thank our guest for sharing their insights, and I would also like to thank our audience for, you know, interesting questions and your engagement. And as I said, all the recordings will be available on the YouTube site. So on that note, I would like to conclude this webinar then. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Natalie. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.